Hello, my friends. Welcome back. This week I want to talk about perfect flow and cadence. In Scrum, we have a cadence. There's a series of ceremonies that happens in a certain sequence, and one of the most common questions you get as a Scrum Master or coach is, on which day should I do ceremony X? How many times a week do I have to do a stand-up? Well, it's called a daily stand-up for a reason, but let's let that one go for now. Should you do demo like on the Friday, or should you do it the following Tuesday? Or maybe we should do it on the Wednesday so that we can do our planning on Thursday and start the sprint on Friday. Here's what I want you to remember. I'm known to say, if there was a prescription, a recipe for success, we would all be using it. Now, it turns out there is a recipe, but it's not the recipe you think, and it's not the recipe that you're asking for. Here's the recipe. Everyone's flow is different. The secret to being a great Agile leader, a great Agile coach, is helping people and teams find their flow. Here is a really specific example. If you go around and read self-improvement or leadership books or those kinds of resources, you'll hear people ask the question, what's your morning routine? What's your daily routine? What's your thought process look like? What's your creative process look like? Now, I can tell you mine, but there's an excellent chance that mine won't work for you. So when I tell you mine, I tell it to you to enlighten and build up your knowledge store so that you have a variety of ideas and perspectives, to build your knowledge base, to build the data bank, to build your decision support. Here's an example. I know for a fact that I can't wait for inspiration, so I have to force myself to do it daily as a routine, generally 7 days a week. I rarely miss. I also know nothing flows in the evening. It might have when I was younger, but as the years go by, I'm just not as productive at night as I used to be and as I would like to be. My energy levels are lower, so it's a dangerous time to be doing creative work. However, I am always prepared for the muse to strike. I'm always prepared for an idea to explore or expand on later. So I always have something to record ideas nearby. I have tools on my phone that work for me that are easy to queue up. I have digital recorders. I got microphones everywhere, pen and paper, all over the place. In my car, I've got recorders, I've got pen and paper. I have sticky notes and Sharpies everywhere I traditionally take calls, because sometimes conversations with other people will open up new ideas, and I have to be ready to catch them. Otherwise, I will lose them. Now, when I get up, the brainstorming and creative activity has to happen first. First you wake up, then you hydrate, then we get the coffee going. Then I have to go and find a couple of sources of inspiration. There are certain books I turn to every single day. There are certain resources I go to where it doesn't matter what kind of mood or state I'm in. When I read them, they inspire me. So I set a timer for 20 minutes, and I knock off a quick morning read. Then I empty my brain with a freestyle journal, anywhere from a paragraph to 2 pages, whatever I'm feeling. If I'm pressed for time, I skip this part. The next part is the actual brainstorm. Here I sit down and I write little tiny square bullets to the left of each idea, every idea on a new line. Not English sentences, but bullet points. Sometimes they're business ideas if that's where my brain is flowing. Other days they're podcast or creative ideas. The point is, I have a fixed flow for things that I know I must have and must do, otherwise total system failure. But I also have things that are flexible and adaptable and changeable, so that if my energy is going one way one day, I can follow it. If it's going a different way, I can follow that too. And if it's not going anywhere, I can just take the pressure right off, move on to the next thing. So every team that you encounter, every individual you encounter is going to have a different creative flow. So every individual is going to have a different productivity flow. Every team is going to have a different productive flow as well. It depends on the product. It depends on the client. It depends on the size of the team. It depends on the personalities on the team. All of those things are variables. And if you try to control them, you're going to fail. If you try to write a procedure for every possible permutation of those things, you're going to fail, and you're going to be writing processes forever, which is not what we want. It's right there in the Agile Manifesto. Instead, learn how to adapt the flow. This was initially the point we all understand when we first learned retrospectives, is what did we do well, what went wrong, and could be adapted to get better results next time. But I think we so often do retrospectives so badly, so incorrectly, that we don't take time to work on the flow part. But guys, if you read carefully the original intention of Agile, getting to the perfect flow state is nirvana. This is the whole point, really. Is when you get that, when you nail that, and it becomes free-flowing. It's literally zero overhead. You don't have to think about it anymore. You just know the routines that you must stylize and systemize. And you know the things that can flex and bend and adapt, or you can throw them away if they're not working or if they're not needed in this particular circumstance. So that's the secret. Spend your time this week with your teams, analyzing and finding your flow. For me, time of day and sequence is really important, and you may find something similar on your teams as well. For other people, not so much. But until you're looking at it and asking those questions, what works? Why did it work? What broke? Why did it break? You can't try new things, and you're missing an opportunity to get better and better, to become the best team you can be. Okay, kids, thanks for tuning in. I love you because you're crazy. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to reach out, you can find me on Twitter at badass_agile. You can find me on Instagram at badassagile. Come have a peek in the Facebook Badass Agile Listener Lounge. Links are in the show notes. And I'll see you next time. Until then, stay badass.